What makes an object sacred for the indigenous people? How are objects sacralized? Is ritualization possible without sacred symbols? Do indigenous sacred objects constitute idols? How and why do indigenous sacred objects become museum artifacts of art with aesthetic significance? We will be guided by these questions in our exploration of indigenous sacred objects. Hello everyone. Welcome to Indigenous Perspectives, Rethinking Our Thinking with Edward Senmen Mugi. Welcome to the special episode designed to explain the sacred objects in the life of the indigenous people. Today, we will learn how the profaning look of the alien in an indigenous context removes the sense of the sacred associated with sacred objects and placing them within a secularizing context, thereby reducing them to only objects of aesthetic importance, good for the Museum of Artifacts of Arts. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The ritual consecration or dedication of an indigenous object within indigenous space, also known as sacralization, infuses on them, after the prescribed rituals, some special spiritual powers. As such, they mediate the divine and are held in high esteem since they are dedicated to the deities. Their assumption of religious and spiritual significance requires their being handled cautiously and reverently. Desecration of such objects therefore implies the removal of their sacred worth by profaning their spiritual value. It portends to their being disassociated or taken out of the initial sacred context of their construction. Consequently, de-contextualization is desecration. The sacralizing gaze of the indigenous people, when replaced with a profaning, abominable seeing of the alien, blinded by his or her cultural bias, is an imposition of a particular context on another. This leads to a cultural denigration of the indigenous sense of the sacred. To the indigenous mind, however, sacred symbols are means of cultural documentation of historical, traditional, and spiritual treasures for posterity. The sacramental character of these objects to indigenous people derive from the fact that they are the visualizations of the invisible in material form. They play a significant role in the ritualization ceremonies, religious rites, and rites of initiation, among other religious ceremonies. To the Canadian Aboriginals, for example, the eagle is representative of the sacred, wise, and noble creature, representing power and prestige. It also symbolizes grace, power, and intellectual abilities. For the Igbo, the Afo signifies power and authority. Likewise, the king's crown and stool, reserved only for the chosen individual by the elders saddled with that sacred duty. Among many indigenous people, the chief is associated with the ancestors and deities. Among the Gumai, the Tadi and Shan are symbols of ancestors and deities, and the ancestral sacred hoe that represent the sacred act of farming and food production as an essential way of relating with the land. With the Yorubas, a person dedicated to the service of an Orisha, once mounted by the deity, becomes an Orisha at that point, especially in the course of the ritual celebrations pertaining to that specific deity. The Kente Claude Adinkra are symbols of the Akan people of Ghana, used on pottery and other items of domestic and ritualistic value, and they include the Adinkra Hene, chief of the Adinkra symbols, which signifies greatness, leadership. The Asase Yeduro, earth has weight, signifies the divinity of Mother Earth, etc. Thus, ritualization is impossible without symbols as they unlock the sacred mysteries of rituals. Put differently, rituals are the means of indigenous people interacting with their universe, requiring the aid of symbols to be accomplished. Indigenous people believe that, and I quote, the ordinary is the vehicle of the transcendent, unquote. According to the Cameroonian philosopher Achille Mbembe, and I quote, the significance of African masks, carvings, smelted representations of the deities, feathers, and animals, etc., were improperly referred to as works of art by the West. Sacred symbols are representations of reality in the indigenous context, were stripped of their religious and mystical significance and given aesthetic character. Thus, the symbol of sacred value were turned into works of art, where they are placed in museums, making them object of aesthetic curiosity rather than symbols of divine worship. Thanks for joining Ancestral Heritage TV. Until next time, always remember that your identity is formed in your culture. Follow Ancestral Heritage TV at ancestral_heritage TV on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share this video. Goodbye.